Hello everyone. The beginning of a new year, I think, is a really reflective time for so many people. So I wanted to take the time and share with you some of the highs and lows of 2018 for me. Yes, my first low of 2018 is indeed traveler's diarrhea. I just hadn't been that sick in so long, and it was completely out of my control as well. I feel like it was a lesson in learning to surrender to what my body was doing and what my body needed. So with the traveler's diarrhea, I went to Tulum at the beginning of the year for a friend's birthday, and after I got back, I got really sick, but I had to go directly into an interview with Bill Gates, which was in Seattle. So I flew from Tulum back to New York, from New York immediately to Seattle. I remember at one point being curled up in a ball and crying because I was in so much pain. And at this point, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know that I had traveler's diarrhea. I just thought that my stomach was very, very upset. So I get to Seattle. The next day, I do the interview with Bill Gates. I somehow am able to pull it together, and then afterwards, it's just a disaster. So I want you all to look back on that Bill Gates interview. I feel like I was pretty poised in that interview. Just know that underneath it all, I was about to poop my pants and I was in excruciating pain. So let that be known. Another thing that was really difficult for me in 2018 was acknowledging and recognizing my feelings around losing followers and my views being down. I was experiencing pretty intense bouts of anxiety and uncertainty and just really, really deep sadness around all of this. And I think a big element is because my job in a lot of ways is personal, and so things like losing followers and my views being down, that feels personal. It feels like people don't like me, they don't care, they're not interested, I'm unlovable, just all of kind of like the worst fears that we have as human beings, that we're unworthy and unlovable. I think it really triggered other things inside of me, like my fear of abandonment, because there are just things in my life that have happened really suddenly where I've lost people. I've spent so much time crying and so much time just feeling worthless, feeling like, what is the point of doing what I'm doing, and just really beating myself up and blaming myself. I've literally just been through pretty much every emotion possible. And now it's not like all of those feelings have just gone away, but I feel like I have been working through them. And I think one of the biggest things for me to recognize in all of this is that I really love what I do. The way through all of this for me to figure out, you know, what this next chapter looks like for me is to keep making, to keep creating. Now I'm able to see that this is a point in my life where I need to do that. I need to keep making. I need to really dip into my creativity and give myself the freedom to let my mind wander and to really embrace the process, because this is part of the creative process, and this is also part of work and having a business. And you know, it is just not sustainable to always be on this trajectory of growth. And I have really found a lot of value in listening to other people's stories, people who have built their own businesses, watching other creators and the things that they're experiencing, the things that they have gone through. 2019 marks 10 years on YouTube for me, and I'm really proud of what I have done and the community that we have. And this is just something that is part of a longer journey, and it makes the loss in followers and the drop in views easier to navigate because I have a North Star to be holding on to. And I think these hard moments really make you reevaluate what is your North Star. And it has made me think about, why did I start making videos in the first place? And I started making videos because I wanted to help other people, because I needed help. And I had found so much comfort and knowledge within the YouTube community that I was watching at the time, and I wanted to give back. And so that is what I've really been leaning into. I know that I'm meant to do more, and this isn't it for me. I still have more to give, and I'm gonna give it. So the last low is really all about goodbyes. As I look back on 2018, I realized that I had so many different goodbyes to make, from saying goodbye to friends in Los Angeles, saying goodbye to my therapist. The last big goodbye that I made this year was to my aunt, who died this year, and that was really hard for me because I was across the country. I also don't have a super close relationship with the bulk of my family. I was able to say goodbye to her. It was extremely painful because it brought up a lot of things from my past, but it also brought up so many amazing memories that I had with her. And my mom was so amazing during the process and brought me a couple personal items that my aunt had for me to keep so I can remember her. I think that that was a lesson in family being complicated. In so many ways, our family of origin is a source of so much pain. They also influence us in ways that we don't really know until we get older, and a lot of those things can be good. And through this goodbye, I was able to see so much more of the good, and I think it was incredibly healing for me to do that. Made it through the lows. All right, now I get to talk about the highs. My first high is achieving my goal of doing more public speaking. And as I reflect on 2018, I realized that I not only achieved this goal, but I surpassed it in a way that I just never even imagined. I was able to speak publicly and privately to different size audiences, everything from like 30 people all the way up to 16,000 people and everything in between. And I got to talk about different subjects that I really care about. Things like navigating burnout as a creator and really acknowledging moments in my career that have been really difficult on the inside, but to the outside world looked really incredible. I also talked about what it means to me to be a leader and the things that I value in leadership. One of them being vulnerability, and how, you know, when you progress in your career, it gets harder and harder to make mistakes because you feel like there's more at stake. But I think one of the most valuable things you can do as a leader is to be honest and vulnerable about where you're at and to ask for help when you need it. I've just really enjoyed talking about things that I feel very passionately about, things that I have firsthand experience with, things that I'm just constantly learning about. And I'm really proud of myself for just doing that, because I've always been exceptionally afraid of public speaking. If I have to sum it all up, it has all been one big learning experience, and I'm so excited for what's to come. The next high for me is a very personal high. It is celebrating 1 year with my girlfriend, Erica. I really cherish my personal relationships, whether they are platonic or, you know, my relationship with my girlfriend or my relationship with my mother. those are relationships that are very sacred to me. At the same time, I also want to acknowledge how proud I am to be with my girlfriend and to be a queer woman who is in love. I really feel like in this relationship, I have grown more and more into myself. I am so grateful because this is what it feels like to be wrapped in love. That is something that I've always wanted, and I wasn't always sure that I would get. I have it, and I am showing up for every moment of it, and it just feels so good. It feels like this is what it's supposed to be like. The last high of the year is definitely moving to New York City. This has been a lifelong dream of mine, and while elements of it have been really frustrating and hard, ultimately I feel so at peace being here, and I can already feel how inspired I feel, how invigorated I feel. I'm curious, and it's all because I am in a place where I know I want to be. And I just think that is such a spectacular experience to have. New York City for me feels like home. And I'm just like, wow, so this is what it feels like when you are in the place that you are supposed to be in, the place that you want to be in, the place that you've been dreaming of. This is what it feels like when you listen to your deeper self. Those are all of my highs and lows for 2018, and I want to end this talking about my word of the year. So I am not someone that typically makes New Year's resolutions. So last year I was actually inspired by someone I follow on Instagram. Her name is Chelsea, and her username is Dressed to Thrive. She told me that every year she and her husband pick a word of the year that is basically their intention for the year moving forward. The word that I chose for 2018 was commit. And as I look back on 2018, all of my highs represent a commitment, whether it was a commitment to a career goal that I had, or a commitment to my personal relationship, or a commitment to a lifelong dream. So even with all of the lows that have happened, that makes me feel really secure in knowing that I committed myself to the things that I really wanted to focus on, the things that I really cared about the most, and that I took care of myself this year. So for 2019, my word of the year is reflection, because in so many ways I think this year will embody that. I turned 30 on February 2nd, and I think turning 30 for everyone is a milestone in different ways. Personally, I'm quite excited about it. 2019 also marks 10 years on YouTube for me, so I think I am in a naturally reflective place, and I am going to move forward into 2019 with the intention of reflection. On that note, I would love it if you decide to do the same thing. Leave your word in the comments below so we can all see what our intentions are for 2019. And my leg is falling asleep right now, so I'm gonna get going. I hope you are having a wonderful start to 2019, and I will see you really soon in my next video. Bye.